Hello everyone, it's me from Skeletorama again. Welcome back to my channel. So this is episode 4 of this first case that we have here with our secret walls. So our secret door. The wall's not very secret, it's right freaking there. But anyway, so we are going to work on some of our trim on the wall itself before we put the wall up. Making sure that everything's still going to fit with the door is going to open, yada yada yada. And some of the wallpaper stuff for the attic wall in the main house. So hope you enjoy. And we're going to start on the front of this. Now we're going to be putting this edging stuff on here. We also need to make sure that the door can open with it here. We're going to have like a table or something that's in the way of this that disguises it, or helps disguise it anyway. So we can maybe use that and end up having a gap here. I'm not really sure how that's going to work. So what I'm going to do is, this is where the back wall is going to be, the attic wall here. So the edge that's here needs to be mitered that way. So we need to make sure to do that. But I'm going to do this part first because I want to make sure, let's do it right way up maybe. I want to make sure that this is as perfect as I can get it. Okay, so I'm going to use my easy cutter for this and have it straight. And so we're just going to grab here. We're not going to bother measuring this because we're going to do our fine measuring on the ends. So I'm just going to go right about here and make a straight cut. So that's going to be here. Now these two can butt up against each other because this piece is going to be swinging away. It's this piece here that may be an issue. But we'll see what we can do to creatively fix that. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and flip this like so. And I am going to put my pencil line right here, right in the center. And then I'm going to cut this, and I'm going to put my blade in the center of that line. The advantage being, if this is slightly too large, I can sand it down. It's going to have no impact because these are both flat edges meeting each other. As a matter of fact, I'm definitely going to sand it down because look what happened there. Or I need to paint it. I'll just paint it. Okay, so I'm going to sit this here. This looks good. Now, what happens if we try to open the door? So, you know what? Let's put it down here for funsies because I can put a little bit of tape on it here. And I don't care if it rips this because I'm going to put wood over this. Okay, so here's hoping the tape doesn't take the finish off though. All right, so now I'm going to hold this and see, does the door still open with it? And it does. Oh, thank God for that. Okay. That means we don't have to do anything. Yay. So take this off really carefully. Okay. Perfect. So, let's see, do I have a brown marker? I don't think this is dark enough. Oh, it might be dark enough. See if I can just color the end of this instead of painting it. That way I don't have to wait for the paint. And I think we know how good the paint is there. So, nice. I didn't expect it to blend in that well. So this is coconut shell and it's a Nuvo alcohol marker. So that's awesome. All right, so we've got this here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on top of the border of the paper instead of trying to put it over because then it's going to create a little bit of an imbalance. I'm going to put it up here. And you know what, I think for this, just to make sure I don't stick anything to things it doesn't need to be stuck to, I'm going to open the door and then do it. That should work. Okay, so it's going to go up here. So where is my wood glue? Okay. So again, if it sounds like I'm not prepared, I'm usually not. Because I usually am doing things that I don't know if I can even do. So if you're new here, I'll apologize for that now, but that's just kind of the way I do things. So I kind of come up with the plan while I'm doing the thing. All right, so let's put this guy here, line it up with the bottom, make sure that's centered. We're just gonna let that sit for a bit. Okay, and I shouldn't have to really do much of anything to it. There's a tiny bit of extra glue. I'm not gonna worry about that too much. Okay, but I've got that nice and centered on that. So I'm gonna let that set up, and then I will join you guys back and we will do the front. Okay, so this seems to have set up pretty well. So we're gonna go ahead and flip it back over, close our door, make sure we're still going okay. It seems to be catching a little bit on this piece right here. So I'm gonna take my sanding block. I'm just gonna kind of sand it down just a little bit. So now we have our other two pieces here. Okay, we know the one that had the questionable connection was on this side, and our other one is right here. So we're gonna go ahead and attach these down. So with this, again, I'm gonna flip it over just because it's easier to see the pencil mark. And I'm going to cut this one right about here. So I'm gonna go just to the left of my pencil line with my easy cutter. Okay, and so we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna go ahead and color this brown because might as well. And then this end over here, we're gonna do black because it's gonna be on the outside. Get my Copic marker for that one. I'm gonna do this end black. Makes quick work of that, doesn't it? But the part where the finish decided to try to come off, we're gonna do that brown. But hey, the Sculpey glaze really does seem to help it stay on the finished, pre-finished white trim. So I'm very happy about that. All right, so this is this one, this goes here, and this is nice and even, so we're gonna go ahead and attach this one now too. So I find my glue. And this one you don't need quite as much glue as you do with, say, the structural stuff, because you also don't want it to come up onto the wallpaper and make it look like crap and all that either. Okay, so we're going to line this up right here and here. Press that into place. Make sure it's nice and straight. Get any extra glue. Okay, and we're going to do something similar with this one. So we're going to flip this over, hold it here, we're going to mark our line, but this one needs to be mitered because when we put this against the wall, we go to do the railing for the back side of the wall, it needs to be able to miter into here. Okay, so we're going to go this direction with it, which means I'm going to have to get out my other not terribly favorite thing, although it is fairly useful, the little miter box. Okay, let's see, get my X-Acto, take this off, put that away so I don't hurt myself with it. I probably still will, but that's all right. And I always turn this the wrong way. Okay, so this is our piece right here. This is going to be the farthest out point of our miter, and then it's going to miter in this direction. Okay, so I want this here. There we go. And I want to go in this direction here. Just get this last little bit there. Okay. Because what we can do is, if I find it's a little too short or whatever, I can snip the other end with the easy cutter instead of messing with this thing again. All right. And I'm very, very, very conscientious about always putting this back where it lives, because I don't want to hurt myself. I'm already clumsy enough. Okay. So let's bring our wall back in. Okay, we're going to sit this here, and this fits pretty much perfectly. So yay, we don't have to do anything like that. Now we are going to take this and color this end here brown also, but we don't need to do it to the other end because it's going to have another piece glued to it. You know, it's going to come in, where's our little bit here? That part will be, you know, facing this direction, but it'll be mitering in this way. So, I mean, we can, since it's not call marker, we can go ahead and color it just in case I screw that angle up, which that's never happened before. Okay, there. Alcohol marker, it doesn't act like the paint does, just like stains, so it's not gonna give you any trouble with things gluing to other things. All right, so let's get this one on here too. Eventually, Jesus. Get my other glue from the living room. All right, and then we're going to line this up with this piece and with this edge. We're going to press it down. Voila. Okay, so it looks like one continual piece. Or, you know, if anything, maybe they ran a little short and had a little, you know, had to make a little seam in there or something. I mean, this is a dead giveaway, it's a door, but that's okay. We're gonna hide that. I actually had an idea in that I want to use a lot of the different pieces from different episodes of Scooby Doo. They don't all quite lend themselves to not having like a bunch of statues maybe or something, right? So there's a few things. There's a tiki mask that the tiki guy wears in the Hawaii episode. There is the iron mask that the water skier wears in the old Iron Face one. And there is the mask of Zen Tuo in the Chinatown one. So I think those might be good to have like a bunch of different masks or something, kind of trophy-ish things up in here. So that way we can vary their placement. And again, the mask can maybe sit, you know, the tiki mask can sit right here. And as you open the door, it stays on the wall, but it helps disguise this. So we shall see. Okay, so there we go. There is that, and our door still opens. It's just the closing of it that it doesn't want to do. Let's see. Let's get my X-Acto out for this. So what I'm going to do is, it's the paper that looks like it's doing it. So I'm just going to kind of shave it down right there by where the piece of trim is, because that's where it's getting hung up. So this shouldn't interfere with how my wall looks, but it will help it open and close a little bit better. And, you know, the more I do that, the more it will kind of steady itself. Okay, there we go. So now we have our wainscoting, which always makes me think of Monty Python. Oh, and this. So this door knocker that doesn't really work with the front doors will work perfect on the back as a doorknob. So that's what I'm going to use, because it's got like a, I'm going to take it out. Really? it has like a little ring on it. So see, it's got like a little ring on there. So that can be what they use to pull the door open, like a little door latch thing. So yay, that's what I'm gonna use it for. I'll set that to the side. All right, so now we need to do these. So what I'm gonna do with these is I'm going to take these and I am going to put them in the easy cutter. I want to cut just the end off because I need for it to be square. Okay, because it's going to go here, it's going to glue here. I can leave this longer because you can also cut these with scissors, and these pieces right here, you know, may still be able to be used for the attic part, which would be really nice. So we can leave them long, and then, you know, if it doesn't look terribly awesome, they're going to be covered by baseboards also. So I'm not going to really have to worry, but we just can't put the baseboards on this stuff quite yet, I don't think. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do, and I will come back to you after I have cut the tops off enough of these. So I've leveled off about half of them. I'm going to eventually have to do all of them because, of course, we have to do the wainscoting on the back wall and the opposite side as well, but this should be enough for us to do for now. And I do have one that I have managed to lose. There it is. I have one where it was really thin, so I've kept that aside just in case I need something thin. I don't have to count on me trying to cut a straight line with these, right? The thing with these craft sticks, they're pretty notorious, again, for being kind of wonky and whatever. Can you use coffee stirrers? You can, but they're not like these are, you know, God's gift to hardwood or anything, but the coffee stirrers are even rougher than this, so you may have to sand them down or something if you use them, but they are cheaper, so there is that. All right, so what I'm going to do with these, I have a piece of sandpaper here because the Easy Cutter cuts it pretty good, but sometimes it'll have like a little, you know, splinter thing because of the wood itself. So on this, there's two of them that are very, very important. And that's the one that goes on the left side of the door and the one that goes on the right side of the door. So we're going to do those first, and then we'll fill them in. And that way, if we need the little skinny one, we have it here. Hopefully we won't. But what I'm going to use is, I'm going to have my glue here on a piece of paper, and I'm going to use a Q-tip. Instead of trying to mess with that half-empty thing, we're trying to aim this and getting glue everywhere. This should allow me to spread the glue somewhat evenly if I can open it. There we go. So I'll put a little bit of glue down. There we are. Get some of the stuff out of my way. Okay, so I'm just going to take my Q-tip and I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the back. Again, you don't need a ton because you're just gluing it down to paper, basically. Okay, I'm going to put it here. I'm going to line it up with the bottom of the chair rail stuff and straight down this way. I'm going to hold it down. Let's see, where'd my paper towel go? I mean, you can do the extra glue between them, but hopefully I won't have too much of that. But I'm going to have another one that'll go next to it. But I am holding it down because these also tend to be warped sometimes. So once I feel like it grabs, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to do this one, and then I'm going to fill them in. Okay? Because I want to make sure that these look as seamless as they can. This one I want to have right on that edge because I want to make sure it can clear the side so it can open. Okay, that's pretty good. So I need to go about there. A little bit of glue on this one. And then we'll put this one down right here at the edge. And then we definitely want to get the glue that's going to glue it shut if we don't get it off of there. Definitely don't want that. And the Gorilla Wood glue is very strong, doesn't take terribly long to grab. All right, so now I'm just gonna put it on fast forward. If I need to sand the end of it a little bit, I'll do that. And I'm gonna go ahead and fill these in. So as you can see, I did have to take that one piece and put it down, make it a bit smaller just to fit it in that little spot, but looks good. So we're gonna let this dry a bit, and then I will come back to you. All right, so I put my 1, 2, 3 block on there to kind of weight them down. These should be dry enough that we can go ahead and cut these to the length that they should be. So I've got my Tim Holtz scissors. I want the Tonic logo facing away from the direction I'm cutting, and I'm just going to concentrate on cutting these like one at a time if I can. Let's see. Oh, let's get them as close as we can, then we'll worry about it. Ooh, there we go. All right, so now these I'm going to set aside. I can finish staining the little ends of them. I can use those in the attic, so that'll work out fine. Okay, so let's go maybe in this direction, see if I can get it closer. You know, I wonder. Let me check out my jewelry tools real quick. Okay, we'll try these. These should work. The key is just being able to get it close enough, and with the handle of the scissors, you can't really get it close enough. Oh, there we go. Okay, this works. So I think the winner of that was this. So these are the same kind you can get. You can get these at Harbor Freight for just a couple bucks, but they're nippers, and these are the same ones you'd use if you do stamping to get the die cut sets apart and stuff like that. So you can find these everywhere. These ones were just a little too flat and honestly not very good. That's why they were in the other container of tools. But somewhere I've got one that does it from the end. I just don't know where the heck I put them because I never use them. So there you go. All right. So I will need to sand these just a little bit. But the thing I want to make sure of is that our door still opens and closes, and it does. Okay. Perfect. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set about doing this side of them and then this side of them. And then I will come back to you once that I'm done with that. It's just exactly the same as this. We're going to butt up pretty close. We're going to leave maybe a little bit of a gap between those just so I don't have any issues with it opening and closing. Same with this back here. This can butt up nice and close to it because since it's going in this way, it's not going to interfere with it at all. It's just this one we got to watch. So, all right, that's what I'm going to do, and I will see you guys back when that is done. All right, so that's all of the wainscoting done. And I sanded it a little bit because you can see this kind of goes out a little bit, but that's a lot straighter now. So now we've got to do the baseboards and the crown molding, but we aren't necessarily going to put it on it in here because I want to use it to even up the floor. So I want to make sure it's even with the floor, but I should probably cut it here just because it'll be a lot easier than trying to measure it. I want to make sure, I want to tape it to here, make sure the door is going to open with it because this is quite thick. So let's see, I've got, this stuff is about the same thickness roughly. So if I kind of hold it here where I would have it positioned right at the edge of this door, as you can see the door still opens. There's a little bit of, you know, wiggle room, but we can make like maybe a little gap, you know, and then this part can go over a little farther than normal so it meets, but it's not impeding the door. But it's easiest to do that here and not out there with it glued in place. So I was also thinking about the other side, in that we have this here. We can go ahead, because I took it out there and looked at it matched up in the house, and I can go ahead and put the wallpaper stuff on here too. I might as well. Just gonna have to make sure I get this the right way up. I think that's the right way. Yeah, that's the right way up. Okay, so we'll probably go ahead and put this on just to get it out of the way. Plus it's going to keep our door a lot more secure here. So I think we'll start with this piece because again, we can open our door, bring it over and use this to line up where this piece needs to be, because it needs to be here where it's not going to fold it or do anything to it when the door is open. Okay. So we've got a little bit of overhang on the outside. It's not a big deal. We can fix that once it's dry. I'll go ahead and put this on here. Make sure it is all going the right way, right? I think. See, now I'm doubting myself. Okay. If we put this here, does this match up or does this match up? Well, neither of them really, but it's this way. Yep. So just make sure the flowers are going the same way on the back. And they are. All right. So now that I've wasted my time doing absolutely nothing with that, let's get these put on. The nice thing with the Fabrifix and Fabri-Tac and stuff is you do have a little bit of wiggle room on it to move stuff, you know, if you need to get it into place, which we're going to need to with this door the way it is. But like I said, it's a heck of a lot easier doing this here at a desk than it is with it in place. So we'll put this down here. I'm going to open up my door, and then I want to get this in line with the bottom and then press it down. And once we take it out there, if this needs to be trimmed, obviously we can trim it before we put the wall in. Okay, and of course this one will go in butted up next to this and against the bottom of this door here. Yeah, this is the one where it was just slightly off. Actually, you know what? I am going to use my large scissors because these have a better chance of being straight. Okay, so I just kind of want to, actually no, this is, nope. Yeah, I just need just the tiniest bit. Okay. There we go. So I wanted to be able to line up on the bottom because I was going to skip out of doing baseboards since this is kind of like a secret attic room, just to make sure I have enough. Okay, so it's still going to get in the way of that door just a teeny bit more, because that's the important thing, is that door functioning. Obviously, we just spent all this time doing this, so. All right, now this should fit real good. And it does. Okay, that's much better. Okay, hold this in place, make sure my door opens just fine, and it does. All right, let's get this one on here. Do the same with this, where we're going to put this on here, line it up with the bottom. This one can have a gap because you're going to have a doorknob on it. It's clearly going to be a door, so we don't need to worry about that so much. But we want to make sure that it, again, doesn't interfere at all with this door opening. So what we'll do is we'll put this on here first and make sure the flowers are going in the right direction. And then we'll open the door and make sure that that's got the clearance that it needs, and then we'll be good. Okay, so yeah, this door needed a little bit of a gap, which is fine. Kind of figured that. So we'll let that dry, and then I'll trim off this side here, because we don't really want that visible from the front that way. Okay, see how we're looking on these sides. Needs a little bit of a trim. That I can do with my X-Acto knife. So I get this crap out of my way. Like with the previous one, we're also going to take the Copic marker, and we'll go from this side over here, because this is ostensibly the back, and we're just going to make this black. Do the same for this side. So that way, either way, it'll blend in nicely. Okay. There's that. So that's it for episode 4. So in the next one, we're going to be coming back and working on some of the baseboard crown molding, getting that cut, cutting some wallpaper, that kind of stuff. So hope to see you then. Bye.